Okay, so once upon a time, Koei and Tecmo were two different companies. Tecmo was making Dead or Alive games and Ninja Gaiden. They had a guy on their team called Tomonobu Itagaki. And this fucking guy, oh yeah, before we get ahead of ourselves, Koei was obviously making the Warriors games. They've always been doing that. They were making Romance of the Three Kingdoms, the strategy games. They were making Dynasty Warriors, and like the fighting game, and also the proper series. I want to be in the running when there's sloths involved. Yeah. I'll see if I can find any sloth-related games I have. But, let's see here. Yeah. So Tecmo was doing Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, and Ninja Gaiden. And they had the lead director for the games was this Tomonobu Itagaki, or just Tom Itagaki. This guy was like a bad boy rock star of game developers. He was a massive asshole. Like, he was legendary for like how much of a piece of shit he actually was. But he turned that into a career move, because we already heard lately about like missteps by, say, Activision and Bethesda, which have producers that are total scumbags. This guy was different because he was famous for being a dick, and he was such a character that people love to hear him talk trash, because he wasn't necessarily known for being like an awful game developer. We're talking about the guy who was a fucking expert at making Japanese games and make them appeal to the Western audience. This guy was a fucking genius when it came to game development, so nobody had any complaints about his capacity to make a good game. He was famous for just talking trash and having this rockstar lifestyle and having the rockstar look. The guy always had shades on. Always. And he had this long, dark hair, like a fucking rocker. And he had this this very peculiar face where it kind of looked like he had scars. But yeah, Tom Itagaki. So, he was, one of the things that he liked doing was something that the Cool History Bros channel on YouTube, if you haven't checked them out, please check them out. I learned so much about the Romance of the Three Kingdoms and Sengoku era from those videos. So do check out Cool History Bros on YouTube, and you can find out way more than the stories that I'm about to tell you. I thought you meant he was like a cool badass. Well, the thing is, people actually thought he was pretty cool, because one of the things that he did that was pretty funny was he did a thing, like I said, the Cool History Bros dubbed the Liu Bei Gambit. And what Liu Bei did in Romance of the Three Kingdoms, that era, was he had a whole strategy that centered around anchoring himself to Cao Cao. Cao Cao was known as being this absolutely ruthless warlord, and Liu Bei made sure that everybody knew that if you don't like Cao Cao, you should root for me, because I'm not like him. I don't kill indiscriminately. If I take over a territory, I will not just slay everybody in a castle for no reason. Like, I will actually spare people. I'm reasonable. I'm not a tyrant like him. Sure, I'm a warlord, you know, and I might be coming for you, but you saw what Cao Cao did. Like, he had people that were willing to give up if he spared them, and all he did was take the opportunity to march into the city and then kill every motherfucker in the place. I'm not gonna do that shit. If I come knocking on your door and you surrender, I'll do my best to turn you into allies. We can work together. That's how I roll. So with that hopeless anchoring, he made sure that no matter how far Cao Cao rose towards the top and became the biggest guy in the country, Liu Bei would be pulled up by the anchor because they were basically inseparable. Tom did the same thing where he connected himself to the Tekken team, much in the same way, but Tom was a Tom was a dick, so he would always make sure to take jabs at Tekken whenever he could, and that's how he got interviews, because people loved how he was such an audacious, like the sheer audacity of this guy, and how he would just always talk trash about Tekken. So during one interview, they asked him, okay, so we talked about game development, you have the new Ninja Gaiden coming out, and it's looking damn fine. So let's talk about, you know, what are your least favorite games? You know, obviously you like your own games. So he had just talked about how his favorite games were, of course, you know, Dead or Alive 1, Dead or Alive 2, Dead or Alive 3, Dead or Alive Extreme Beach Volleyball, and Ninja Gaiden Black. So they asked him, okay, obviously you like your own game, so we're not gonna push you too much on that. And you are a competent video game developer after all, we all know that. So let's talk about games you don't like. What are your 5 least favorite games? And Tom adjusted his collar and basically started like, okay, my least favorite games, okay. Number 1, Tekken. Number 2, Tekken 2. Number 3, Tekken 3. Number 4, Tekken 4. And number 5 is, of course, Tekken 5 and DR and 5.1. Fuck Namco. So they're like, wow, least favorite games. Top 5 is Tekken 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Are you sure you don't want Tekken Tag in there? It's like, PS2 game of that game is pretty good, actually. It didn't drop the ball completely on that, so I'll let that one slide. And so he made this the Liu Bei Gambit work really well. But he also had a tendency, and this is where Tom being an asshole coming in. I don't know if the allegation is of him being like harassing his personnel, like treating his female staff as basically bags of meat. I don't know how true that is, because there's not a whole lot in terms of like stuff we know. But it's Tom Itagaki, the guy berated his director when he was doing an interview with GameSpot, and the guy, you will know him, I don't remember his name, but he's the guy who's in charge of Dead or Alive right now. He's the guy who wears the Hitomi college shirt. He always wears that. That guy, he was sitting next to him during a GameSpot interview, and Tom was talking trash about him while he was sitting there listening to him. Like, he was like, what the fuck, man? I'm right here. Do you have to talk trash about me like now? At least wait until I get out of the room. What the fuck? You're such a dick. So, he was definitely like not super popular. Like, if he started berating his like, if the rumors are true that he was like a dick even to his own employees, I'll believe that. However, he also had a problem with his boss, and one of the things, because Itagaki, you have to remember, was like a really divisive figure, because the guy really was a scumbag, but he was also really good when it came to the business itself. Like, he really knew how to put together a game. Like, Dead or Alive 3 in particular, like, that game does shit that games that came out this year still cannot do. Like, you ever seen a loading screen in fucking Dead or Alive before 5? Like, those didn't exist. They had whole dedicated teams just to do the FMVs because this guy knew exactly how to run things. And he was a company man in the way that he wanted bigger salaries for him and his team. So when he was talking to the boss, the big boss, Itagaki had a tendency to bring out a fucking tape recorder and carry it on his person and actually record what they were saying during meetings. And he was making demands that, hey, I delivered more than you could possibly imagine. I want that fucking bonus. I want it for me and I want it for the other guys. So, you know, I made Dead or Alive 3, came out on the Xbox. We sold literally millions of copies of this fucking game on a system that's not even popular. It's like, it's one of the hottest titles in the world right now. So when you said I was gonna get a big bonus if we could break the 1 million copies sold, and I delivered 3 million copies sold, you should give me that fucking money right now, and you should pay my staff as well, because I told them that if they work their asses off, they're gonna get that money. And probably in a rare instance of self-awareness, he was also willing to, like, these guys have been putting up with me for years now. I gotta make this work so that they think I'm an asshole, but I'm an asshole that gets them paid. Big Boss Man said, hey, I didn't actually sign any fucking papers. You will do what I tell you, Itagaki. And you're a scumbag, so I don't feel like playing nice with you because you're such an insufferable asshole. So maybe clean up your act and I will think about paying you. Itagaki responded by, okay, we're gonna do it like this. We're gonna do it like this. You will give me my fucking bonus right now, or I swear to God, I will walk out of the company right now. Right this second. Big Boss Man didn't believe him. Itagaki turned off his tape recorder, stood up, walked out of the company, went straight to the press, and gave them the tape. Straight to, like, he just walked across the street to, like, I don't know, the Tokyo New Times or something, and just like, here, I have a story for you. This is a tape recording that I did with my boss that I did 5 minutes ago. I want this fucking company to burn in hell. Here's the tape. I want some money, obviously. But yeah, give me, let's say, 10 grand and you can have the tape. You can milk this story for months. And he did that. And the story broke the day after. And all hell fucking broke down. The Tecmo company stock plummeted like 2,000% in less than 2 days. The whole company was in ruins because this guy, as much of an asshole as he was the guy. Everybody was talking about, what the fuck is Tecmo Koei going to do without Itagaki? He's the man. He put them on the map. He's the guy who made Ninja Gaiden. How the fuck are they going to survive without him? And speculation continued, and the Tecmo stock just plummeted, and they were in like dire financial straits. They had no idea what the fuck they were gonna do. Tom had just walked out in the most, like, he burned all the fucking bridges. He wanted them dead to get revenge because they didn't pay him. So what ended up happening was Square Enix, who had been talking about doing collaborations with Tecmo Koei, and they had, Tecmo, just Tecmo in this case, they had actually given them an offer, and they came back and said, hey, we already talked about this. this deal. You know, it worked out really well for Square when we joined up with them, and you know, we're both Japanese companies, and we all understand each other. We can make this work out for both of us. And Tecmo responded by by joining up with Koei instead. And the thing that they did, that Square Enix is gonna have a talk with them about if Tecmo Koei ever asks them for a favor ever again. The way they responded was that the company man at Tecmo, once he had signed the deal with Koei, he sent them a fucking picture of ASCII art. ASCII art. You know, like when you put text together to do like a picture of Kasumi holding up her hands and saying no thank you. That's such a dick move. And Square Enix were like, hey, what the fuck? We were just trying to be polite. We had already talked about a merger. Why are you gonna do us like this? What the fuck is this? A fucking ASCII art picture attached to an email that just has Kasumi holding up her hands and saying no thank you. What the hell? And that's how Tecmo Koei got merged, and how Square Enix got shafted because Tomonobu Itagaki is a fucking asshole and everybody hates him now.